we're talking about fish fries, and I want to say this because it's time to introduce our next guest, Drew Blazsik with Faith and Finance. And I want to say this. And I often tell this joke. I tell it every Friday when we go to fish fries. There was battered fish everywhere. The fight broke out. Well, right now
Yeah.
there are battered tariffs everywhere, and so I want to bring in Drew Blazsik. A lot of things happening with our government right now regarding finance, and a lot of interesting conversations happening. Good morning to you, Mr. Blazsik. How are you this morning?
Pretty good. Battered tariffs. I love it.
Battered tariffs everywhere.
Oh, my word. Yeah. So, I thought we could revisit a Catholic principle and bring up Quadragesimo Anno by Pope Pius XI.
Okay.
And you said, a lot of things are going on with the economy. We could examine. I'm going to ask you guys, what do you think? Do you think we follow this principle for our economics and our politics here? So
Okay.
I'm going to read. This is Quadragesimo Anno, paragraph 79. So it says, as history abundantly proves, it is true that on account of changed conditions, many things which were done by small associations in former times cannot be done now save by large associations. Still, the most weighty principle, which cannot be set aside or changed, remains fixed and unshaken in social philosophy. Just as it is gravely wrong to take from individuals that cannot accomplish by their own initiative and industry and give it to the community, so also it is an injustice. And this is so important. I want you guys to hear what it says here. And this is important in Catholic language here. So also it is in injustice and at the same time grave evil. So what do you guys think about when it says grave evil?
Wow.
That's like a mortal sin.
Yeah.
Right.
And disturbance of right order to assign to a greater and higher association what lesser and subordinate organizations can do. So for every social activity ought of its own very nature to furnish and help the members of the body social and never destroy and absorb them. So, and then in paragraph 81, it says, first and foremost, the state and every good citizen ought to look and to strive toward this end. So it's talking about subsidiarity. So it's saying if our politics states that a lesser subordinate group and we make the centralized group take care of it and do the work, that's a grave evil.
Wow.
So saying this in this document. So let's go through a couple policies because we have all this stuff going on politically, and we'll see if we're following this Catholic principle.
Yeah.
What about education? So think about, what do we have? We have federal control over education, right? It was supposed to be, now I would say this is the principle that actually go towards the family, because what does the father and the mother have is the right to procreate and educate the children. They're the educators of the family. And then at the very least, it should go to the local community to make these decisions.
Right.
So now I think what it's saying is the statement, easily the local and the family can take care of education. When the state jumps in and does things that we don't agree with, the federal government, in education, that's a grave evil. When you guys agree that that document's clearly stating when it jumps in and saying things that every local community is different, every family is different, and when it tries to make those centralized decisions, it clearly is stating that can be a grave evil in that
And in
regard.
that policy, we see how that turns out, right? It's plain to see that we'd have been much better off with that principle in place.
Yes. The next one is, now this one's more kind of nuanced, kind of difficult. What about central banking monetary policy? That could be a bit difficult because I think the federal government should have the authority to tell you what something is worth. It's always been that way. A king would stamp its approval on a gold coin to say this is legitimate. If you had, so that's tricky, but the central control over what local and community banks do, I think you can argue that could be a grave evils because what we have seen since the 80s, maybe a little bit before that, a lot of local community banks have been going bankrupt, and it's been observed by the big, been taken over by the large centralized banks.
Right. Yeah. You could do that mom and pop stores to Walmart. You could do it in every aspect of our economy, right?
Yeah, and that's actually what you just said, and I'll jump to it. corporate concentration is that we've seen, for example, big tech and big retail box stores that we have low. So I think what it's saying is that it's the good citizen and the state has the authority by God to make sure that we always promote local. We always promote that lesser authorities can do it for us. And it should step in, because the powerful always has, when you have supply and demand, or you have markets where you have sellers and buyers, the powerful always have the dominant hand in it.
Right.
So the state must make it fair in order that the lesser authority can have just as much power in that regard. So I would agree with that, what you just said. Another one, welfare. Think about welfare. It used to be this church, the local community used to help out the poor.
Right.
And we transitioned it into a centralized, federalized, that now they have no control. You don't know who's on it, who deserves it. It's so out of control that we've seen that if you kept it local, I would think that a lot of the corruption and stuff would go away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good example.
And then the last one is, well, I don't know if that'd be a good one, but some people would maybe conclude maybe healthcare, and I don't know if you could use the argument that if we kept it locally, it used to be family care, it used to be religious care, it used to be the communities to take care of the sick, and now it's more of a centralized body of decisions are made on the federal side of things. So I don't know. I'll put it back to you guys. Can you guys think of any political policy that? And I heard this in a podcast one time that some anti-Catholic came up and said, what about the church and state, separation of church and state?
Right.
That is foreign to the Catholic mind, right? We, as Catholics, we believe that the church is involved in everything to some regard, that we can't separate our politics away from our religion.
Yeah, and we're not forcing religion on anybody. I mean, we're
forcing.
just using our principles to form our own.
Also foreign to our founding fathers, by the way.
Yeah,
So
right,
in
yeah.
any case, but here's the thing. It's crazy. How was all this built? How was all of it accepted? It was the safety net. You know, it was always sold to us as the only people that can do this is the federal government. Otherwise, everyone's going to fall through. No. The only people that can do it rightly is the local community. The only people that have ever done it correctly are the people of faith. And it was completely stripped from that to do it on a broader scale, and it has never been done well since. So somehow, I don't know if you can ever recapture it, right? But it is not done according to Catholic teaching. There's no way. We are out of the ball game altogether now because we can't do it according to their rules. So now we're sitting on the sidelines, and quite frankly, we're the only ones qualified to do it with compassion, with love, and with discernment.
And I think this is why the popes have always declared that socialism, communism is a grave evil. For this, This is one of the very reasons. It's because it strips the local aspect away. It takes it all away and makes it centralized. But then, you got to read these encyclicals. There's two. It doesn't define what capitalism is. But if you have a capitalism that takes away from the local and it centralizes all the authority, it turns into a socialized society. That the popes have warned about that as well, that if you can go in that direction, you must protect the local community. You must protect local, because they're the decision makers. Right. And I always bring this back up, if you think about it, is that, and this is why the government is so important, is that in Ireland you had a famine that happened. And they were a net exporter of food. Right? That their land was made for the people, for the local community. And what they're doing, they're trying to make profits and sell it to worldwide. And their people were starving. So that's why it's so important. Every citizen and the government, people that are in power, it's a grave evil to do so if you take it away from the local.
Yeah, the resources of the world are plenty to feed the world. It's just not plenty to cover people's greed. Well, who's better to manage that than the local people, the people of faith, not governments and corporations who are out to make a profit?
Yeah,
That's
and
the problem.
if there's a way to incorporate, this localism into even federal policy, I mean, we get some control, which would be a good thing. I only urge you, Drew Blazsik, don't go national. Stay with us locally, will you?
Thank you, Drew.
Thank you.